There we go. Hey, well, welcome everyone. Again, my name is Curtis, and I'm a guide with Trek Travel. I'm going to be your host this evening. Tonight, I'm going to tell you all about Trek Travel and how you can have an active vacation of a lifetime with us. So, with that, we'll get started. It takes a team to have a vacation of a lifetime, but also to tell you about one. So, joining us tonight is my good friend and co-guide Hershey. You're going to see him a little bit later when we dig into our trips, which we're highlighting, and that's the Portugal and Mallorca ride camps. And I just absolutely love ride camps are my favorite trips that Trek Travel does because it's just all about riding. Now, I know all of you have become experts on Zoom in the last few years because it seems like everything's in Zoom. But if you're only seeing my face right now and not my screen, you want to click over to the screen share. If you are seeing this, if you're seeing the pretty picture of the couple on the swing, then you're in the right spot. Again, the menu bars, we're going to have your mute button and your video toggle button. And in the chat box, this is where you can answer some trivia questions. We have two trivia questions tonight to challenge your knowledge of things Trek travel. But more importantly, this is where you can ask questions throughout the presentation. So if you're like me, you have these great questions that come to mind, and then like 5 minutes later, they're gone. So pop them into the chat box. We might answer them, kind of during the presentation if we can, but otherwise we'll definitely go over all of them during the Q&A at the end, just so everyone can hear the answers and, answer any questions that you have. So again, great way to kind of store that question there so you don't forget it at the end. You're like, oh, I had a great question. I can't remember what it was. But at this point, if I could ask everybody to kind of, there you go, get to use that mute button, the video toggle button, kind of turn those off so we can save some bandwidth, then we will start the fun part of the presentation. So at Trek Travel, we usually begin each day with what we call a route talk. So you have an idea of where you're going to be going that day and what you expect to see. So here is your route talk for this evening. We're going to start with who we are at Trek Travel. Then we'll move on to why you should travel with us. What sets us apart from the competition? And then from there, we will climb up to tonight's trip spotlights because it is not a Trek Travel trip without at least a little bit of climbing. As I mentioned, we're talking about the Portugal ride camp, our new Portugal ride camp, which is awesome. And then the classic Mallorca, which is just one of those, bucket list rides for any cyclist. And you definitely have to have a little bit of climbing, especially when it comes to ride camps. Then we will quickly but safely descend because Trek Travel is always about safety to discuss how to book a trip and like I said, finish with some Q&As where you can ask questions about these trips, other trips, anything Trek Travel, anything bikes. Hershey and I are huge bike nerds, so we'll talk about anything you like. And for those of you who've been on a Trek Travel trip before, don't worry, there is no safety talk. That's when we usually get to lose people. They want to start riding. We're pretty comfortable that you're all safe in the comfort of your own home this evening, so no safety talk is necessary. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you all about Trek Travel and what we do. Trek Travel is a company, though I have to tell you, after being with them for more than 5 years, and Hershey's been with them, oof, God, I think you're over 10 now, if I recall. That
Over
feels
20.
20. That's right. It's that long. I knew
Old
Hershey.
man.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time, and I knew I like I said 10. I'm like, oh, it has to be a little bit longer than that because I mean, there's a special when you get to certain milestones with Trek Travel, you get immortalized in stickers, and I know Hershey's been immortalized because I have a sticker of him. So sorry that Hershey over 20 years, he is one of like almost the beginning folks here. So he definitely makes it feel like a family, and that's exactly what it feels like to me as a family. And Trek Travel wants to move you both literally and figuratively, and we've been having vacations all over the world now for over 23 years, and Hershey's been with us for most of that, and I'm just thrilled to be on it, just for the last 5 years, a little over 5 years. Um, and over all of those years, we've been winning awards. We've been voted one of the top vacation companies by our guests and partners by various organizations. Most recently, we were voted a top 10 tour operator by Travel and Leisure for 2024. This is a repeat from 2023, 2022, 2021, 2018, and 2016. And I think voting is open for 2025. So if you've been a Trek Travel guest and you think we've earned it, I'd urge you to go and vote for us for 2025. We are extremely proud of these awards because they demonstrate our commitment to our guests, and we will continue to work hard to deserve more. Now, you're probably wondering what we do to win all of these awards. You might hear us call it our secret sauce. Rather than tell you about what that secret sauce is, I want to show you a video narrated by our president, Tanya Burke, because they say, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video has to be worth, at least 1,000,000.
active travel is pure magic. You can hear, taste, see things in a different way and from a different perspective. I close my eyes and I can hear the sound of the cowbells in the Alps. I can taste the best tomatoes in the world in Italy, and I can see that pristine blue lake in Glacier National Park. Biking or hiking through an area allows you to get up close and personal to the place and the people. At Trek Travel, we have cycling trips for every type of traveler. From classic guided vacations in North America and Europe, you can experience the best of a destination with our world-class guides. If you're an avid rider, we have trips that will test your legs, from experiencing the best of the pro cycling scene on our Tour de France trips to training for your next big race on our ride camps. Do you want to adventure off the beaten path? Our gravel bike tours are the perfect fit. They combine classic Trek Travel experience with miles of gravel roads across North America and Europe. For travelers looking to lace up their boots, our hiking and walking tours offer a variety of activity levels, from leisurely strolls in Ireland and Portugal to epic hikes in the French Alps and the Dolomites. All the elements of an incredible trip are fine-tuned and delivered with unparalleled hospitality by our awesome guides. They're focused on making sure we have a seamless and effortless experience for our guests and provide wow moments that you would never expect. From luxury vacations in Mallorca to leisurely riding e-bikes through Bryce and Zion National Parks, whether you're looking for big days in the saddle in Girona, hiking through historic villages in Italy, or planning a private getaway for you and your family or friends, our sole purpose is to make sure you have the best vacation you've ever had, and we look forward to you joining us on your next adventure.
Man, I love that video. It makes me want to get out and ride my bike. And this time of year, it'd have to be a fat bike because it's really cold and I need to wear a lot of gear. But speaking of riding, we know that you're here because you love to ride as well. And bikes are one of the many ways that Trek Travel sets itself apart from other tour operators. I'm sure you would all agree that the bike you ride on a cycling vacation matters. That's why we provide the best bikes in the business and tailor them to the trip that you're on. Honestly, you're probably going to want to buy one of these when you get home if you don't already have one. Now, we have several standard bikes. Which ones are offered will depend on the type of trip and region that you're in. Though I should note there are a few select regions where we'll offer different bikes than the ones I'm showing you today. But these, are the main bikes that we have on the majority of our trips. And I want to mention too, I'm really excited that we have some upgrades for the 2026 season. So first, our standard bike. This is the Domani SL7, obviously a carbon fiber, electronic shifting, disc brake, carbon wheels bike. Absolutely awesome. You're going to love it. It really soaks up any bumps you have on the road. Very, very comfortable. I have one of these bikes and absolutely love it. Next, we have our new Checkpoint SL7 Access Gen 3. Again, full carbon fiber bike, electronic shifting, disc brakes, carbon wheels. It is awesome. I mean, those checkpoints just really tear through the gravel on that access shifting. I know Hershey will just tell you how much he loves it. It's amazing. Now we have our first electric bike. This is the Verve Plus. This is, obviously a kind of a little different, not a traditional road bike. This is a hybrid bike, so it has a little more comfortable ride. It's a no-cost upgrade on our trips that offer it, not on ride camps. Ride camps are all about riding. We have no e-bikes on our ride camps. But on our other trips, we offer this no-cost electric hybrid. So as it's kind of step through, more upright riding, kind of a comfortable ride. It's really nice. People love them. They're a great way to get around without kind of putting the same amount of effort. But next is the Domani Plus SLR7. This is our electric assist e-bike, road bike. It is awesome. I personally have one of these and absolutely love it. It's, as you can see from the picture, you can barely tell that it's an e-bike. The down tube is slightly larger. The engine is super quiet. It's under 30 pounds, depending on your build, but right around 27, 28 pounds. It's absolutely awesome. When you're riding and you're going up a hill or you're in a headwind, for me, it just feels like I'm having like someone kind of push on my back and help me a little bit, or maybe a lot if I go on full turbo. And then next, this is awesome. Before we used to have Ardemani plus SLR7. We throw some wider tires on it to accommodate them, and they'd be on our gravel trips. But now we have a dedicated gravel bike, and that is the Checkpoint Plus SL6 Access. Again, full carbon fiber, electronic shifting, disc brakes. It is absolutely awesome. If you haven't ridden an e-bike before, drop into your local trek shop and check one out. It's hard to ride an e-bike without having a huge smile on your face. I absolutely love mine. I have several. And for those of you who think, oh, it's kind of cheating or whatnot, first off, realize if you're not on a ride camp, if you're on a lecture trip, you're there to kind of enjoy the scenery. And so it's a nice way not to be working up a hill. But for those of you who want to get a harder workout, like when I ride with friends who are maybe not quite as fast as I am, I just turn it off. And there's such a little weight penalty that it's just a little bit more work and it kind of levelizes things out. And if I'm riding with people faster than me, I can turn it on, or if I'm going up a hill or have a windy day or just need to kind of burn through a route, it just kind of gives you all these options. They are absolutely amazing. I should mention these are pedal assist. So again, this is a trek travel trip. There's no throttle. There's no just kind of cruising along. You have to actually pedal. But when you're on full turbo, you get a lot of assist. Okay, for those of you, let's start with your first trivia question. Open up those chat boxes. Um, the first question is, and this comes to test your knowledge of trek travel ride camps, which rider levels are best suited for our ride camp bike tours? We have A level 4, B level 3, 4, C level 1, 2, and D level 2, 3. So it's thrown in the chat box. You just need a letter of the correct answer, not the whole thing. So just the correct letter, A, B, C, or D. Like I said, I love ride camps. It's all about riding. I mean, you have some great meals and you're in really cool, beautiful areas, but really it's all about the riding. Um, and just do a bunch of it. So more than average. So with that, so the answers are slowing down a little bit. Here we go. So I don't need to belabor it. For those of you, yes, A is the correct answer. Level 4. Like I said, ride camps are all about riding. Long miles in the saddle, and obviously getting and also speed, descents, all the things, kind of the technical skills. So we kind of generally focus on level 4 people, though I will say I've had plenty of ride camps where, if you're level 3 and you're kind of wondering, we can definitely assist you. I mean, trek travel is always your day, your way, and so we're not excluding anybody. If you think you're a 3 and you want to work up to a 4, we're definitely there to kind of help you along. And whether it's, again, assisting you between sections or picking up at the end. If you're a 3 and you're worried about it, we can accommodate you as well. But it's geared for 4s. So speaking of activity levels, you're probably wondering, well, how do I pick a trip? Like we have so many different trips. One way is to consider the activity level. We classify our trips by 4 levels. Not really all that complicated. We have level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Level 1 is obviously going to be easier in distance, terrain, and our skill level, while level 4 will be the hardest. And this is true for all of our trip styles because we have several different trip styles. Um, Another way to consider a trip is trip styles. We have several different trip styles. First are our classic road cycling trips. This is where we started way back in 2002 and where we still have the most trips by far. Though I will say we keep adding more and more gravel trips because people really love gravel. But our classic cycling road trips are still where we have the most trips. And these trips range from short 3 or 4 day trips exploring an area to our cross-country trip that covers almost 3,800 miles and over 155,000 feet of climbing over 47 days. And everything in between. There is truly a trip for everyone, whether you're all about those long days in the saddle or just want a little bit of riding while you enjoy the culture and food of the area. And for those of you who want to do it on your own, we have self-guided trips. So this is kind of a great way to explore an area, get to go someplace, you get the bike kind of all set up for you, but you can kind of go at your own pace and in your own way. And some of our self-guided trips are actually in areas where we don't even have guided trips. So again, another option is our self-guided trips. Next, as I mentioned, are our gravel cycling adventures. These trips have really taken off. And these trips are for our guests who want to get off paved roads to roads that are more rugged and less traveled. And to do this, we use gravel bikes. For those of you who are not familiar with gravel bikes, I mean, I think you kind of saw the pictures because when you look at the pictures of the bikes, like they don't look that different, but they are. There's some noticeable differences in them. And I would say if you want to think of what a gravel bike is, think if a road bike and a mountain bike had a baby, it would be a gravel bike. So you should think of a gravel trip as a combination of road riding and mountain biking. You're usually riding on dirt roads and paths. They're not quite as full of rocks and ruts and or as technical as you think mountain bike trails, but they're definitely more adventurous than the paved roads and paths that you generally are on with a cycle with a road bike. Though sometimes I will mention, to get to these awesome, gravel roads, you do have to go on some paved roads. So it's when you're on a gravel trip, it's not like every road is going to be all gravel. You'll definitely have to be on some paved roads as well, usually. And last but not least is our newest trip style. As we say, step into a new era of trek travel with our hiking and walking tours. We started out thinking that being on two wheels was the best way to see the world. But after all of these years, we realized there are many amazing places that you can't go with a bike. Or maybe you shouldn't go with a bike, or you'll get in trouble if you go with a bike. So we want you to use your legs in a different way without a bike. Our hiking and walking tours are packed with everything that makes a trek travel trip incredible. The best guides, luxury accommodations, expert itineraries, unmatched flexibility, and support from the moment you book a trip to well after you depart, all delivered with what sets trek travel apart, our unparalleled hospitality. So what's included? Well, in both types of trips we have, or all the types of trips, I'd say, we have the hotel, the guides, daily breakfast, most lunches, most dinners, daily snacks and drinks, gratuities for local staff. So if you're doing a trip where you're having dinner or you're doing some kind of excursion, some kind of cultural excursion, all those gratuities for those folks are all totally covered. You don't have to worry about anything at all. Um, if you're on a trip where you're going from one place to another with ride camps, you stay in one spot so you don't go anywhere else. But if you're doing trips where you're going from one place to another, the luggage transfers and the transportation during the trip are also covered. And of course, you get some trek travel gear to keep depending on the type of trip that you're on. Um, For our cycling trips, of course, we get all the world-class bikes I talked about, which are equipped with Garmin GPSs, though we have some exciting news. I think we'll be changing those out in the future to some exciting new technology. And helmet, flat packs, support van, 1 to 3 route options depending on the day. We try to always give you 3 options, but sometimes you might only get 1 or 2. For hiking and walking, you get the backpack, hiking poles, and a water bottle. Of course, if you have your own favorite backpack, and backpacks can be kind of specific, and hiking poles, feel free to bring those. We just wanted to make sure these trips were accessible to those folks who don't own their own bike or backpack or hiking poles. I have several myself, but it's because I just like buying gear, and so anyone can do it even without having a backpack or hiking poles. I'm pretty sure you all have water bottles, but we'll provide them for you if you don't want to bring your own. What's not included is airfare to and from the trip. And we always encourage you to go out a day or two early, especially with all the travel hiccups these days. You definitely don't want to miss. Oftentimes you meet in one spot and you kind of get transported somewhere else to start your first ride. So definitely want to get there early. And obviously you're going to a great place. So it's nice to get there a little early and kind of explore a little bit. Then obviously lodging before and after the trip. So if you get there early, you got to get lodging, and you can work with our trip consultants to kind of set up the same place that we're staying if you want to do that, or you can stay someplace else. Any personal items such as souvenirs are also not included. Optional activities that are not scheduled by truck travel. Our trips are usually pretty booked and full of stuff, but we always try to keep some time open for you to explore the area in your own way. And the same is true for meals. We have a lot of amazing meals curated, but we'll definitely give you some opportunities for lunch and dinner to kind of go out and check out the cuisine that you want to check out, that your neighbor or your friend recommended that you got to try out when you go someplace. And last but not least, the gratuity for Trek travel guides is not included in the price of the trip. I can tell you as a guide, we appreciate your appreciation. Okay, so now with that, we have our next trivia question. So pop up in those chat boxes again. Um, and the question is, which of the following is featured on a Trek travel itinerary? We love obviously kind of doing some famous climbs on our trips. And so which one of these climbs? You have A, Mount Seymour, B, Pico de Neblina Pass, and then C, Col de Tourmalet, or D, the Cerro Anaquaga Traverse. So which one of these is featured on a Trek travel trip? And all you have to do, you don't have to spell it out, just put A, B, C, or D. But we love to offer some of the same climbs as the pros so you can experience the world's most famous descents on so many of our trips. We have classic climbs, we have just so many other trips that you can kind of check out some of these awesome climbs so you can knock them off your bucket list. And I mean, I've seen the answers roll in, and yeah, you guys all got it. Maybe this one was a little too easy. No, I mean, Hal thought all of the above. That would be awesome. No, Tourmalet obviously is one of the things that we offer. It's located in the French Pyrenees in southwestern France, and it's one of the highest paved road passes in the region at 6,939 feet. For those of you the metric systems from our Canadian friends, that's 2,115 meters. It's obviously a famous climb on the Tour de France, and you've seen a lot of really epic battles there. So that is definitely something every cyclist should have on their bucket list. For me, probably a little too much climbing. I'm a big guy. Climbs are tough. All right, now we are climbing, speaking of climbing, up to the point where you've all been waiting for, the section of the event where we get to highlight some of our trips. And tonight, I'm so excited to share with you our Portugal ride camp and then Mallorca, which is one of our just absolute classics. So I'm going to hand you over to my co-guide this evening, Hershey, to tell you all about these amazing destinations. Hershey, take it away.
Awesome. Curtis, thank you so much for getting us to this point tonight. And I'm loving some of these trivia questions too. They are definitely awesome. So tonight we have two fantastic ride camps for you all. First one is brand new to Trek Travel, and it's pretty darn special. I'd say it's becoming fast a guest and guide favorite. And as you hear a little bit about the rides, I think you might know why. And so this area is a buzz. We started doing our regular classic trips here like 2 or 3 years ago now, and guests have been raving about them. It's like you step back in time. So I would like to welcome you all to the Algarve region in Portugal. It's a hidden gem. It's full of beauty. There's a pro bike race that happens here, so you know the riding is fantastic. And amongst that, you are also in an area that is still somewhat untouched by many cyclists. So I would like to welcome you to our Portugal Ride Camp Bike Tour. Now, the terrain here, you are going to encounter consistently rolling terrain. The roads, as you can see here, are narrow. They definitely wind and weave. They're peaceful, they're scenic, and they're also quiet. Now, the only time that we do have some flatter terrain is when we get out by the coast. However, we are on the coast, and would you be surprised to know we have headwinds? So the only real difference between a headwind and a hill or a mountain pass is that that hill will eventually end. The mountain pass, you crest the summit. The headwind, well, it always seems to be that gift that keeps on giving because just when you think you're turning around, it seems like the headwinds do too. Now, Portugal has been designed for our level 4 riders. Those of you that want to do more miles, or we could call you a R4 plus, well, you will be able to cycle so much more because these avid options are sure to please. A few of the rides now we're going to get into. And you can see this one is a 67-mile ride with just over 4,600 feet. So it's not too much, but you'll definitely feel it in the legs. If you do the Avid option, now you're going to be touching about 75 miles and just over 5,300 feet. Today, we will ride some of the sections that the pros do in the month of February of the Volta ao Algarve. It's a big day in the saddle, as I have mentioned. We're going to weave, we're going to wind, we'll take on the captivating Bericola region with its beautiful vineyards, the olive trees, almond groves will be around every bend. Everywhere you look, the scenery just keeps unfolding as the road weaves and winds. You'll then be able to choose if you want to tackle the most famous climb in this area, the Mauyao. It's the highest point of the Sierra de Caldedao at 1,643 feet or just over 500 meters before we begin our journey back to our hotel. As I mentioned here, while it might be flat in some areas, you do have headwinds. Today, you will get your first views of the Foya, and it'll be your chance to climb it later in the week. So you'll see it early in the week, have a little like preview pregame, and then you'll be able to do it. But today's ride, we will cycle past strawberry bushes and into the quaint town of Kazish. Here, you'll get beautiful views of the Atlantic Ocean. You will have the undying love of a headwind or two as we're cycling along the ocean, but we'll also see some amazing cork trees, wild olive trees, and just those shimmering silver leaves to the sun in the sunlight. On another day, we are going to meander through the southernmost reaches of Portugal. We'll journey through the timeless charm of the Algarve region and its serene coastal sanctuaries. We'll go through peaceful villages nestled among rolling hills and windswept plains. They'll offer a glimpse of the region's rural soul, along with its quiet and almost untouched feel to it. In some ways, you may feel like you're stepping back into time. It'll be almost like a region that time has since forgotten. We'll be surrounded by some of the Algarve's most untouched landscapes. You'll see dramatic cliffs, you'll see wildflowers dotting beautiful fields, and the vivid blues of the Atlantic will always be present. The terrain will challenge your legs for sure, but the scenery will reward you with some of the most incredible um, views that we have. And hopefully, you'll be smiling because you'll be enjoying another 75-mile or 66-mile day. All right. Now, we will head into the mountains today. So get ready to climb. It's a climber's paradise, and you can see this. Our options range from a 66-mile ride and, well, we'll call it 5,400 feet of climbing, all the way up to the avid option of 71 miles and 6,200 feet of climbing. Today's ride is good for the soul if you were looking to build base miles or just top up for your racing season or just to get fit. Today's the day for you. Uh, we recommend a hearty breakfast as we head towards the Monchica Mountains. Here you can choose to tackle Alferse, Picota, and Foya. These three climbs together will test your legs, your mentality, but leave you with a sense of accomplishment. Now, the foliage sits just under 3,000 feet. It's the highest peak in the Algarve region, and it is an incredible climb. At its summit, we'll await the breathtaking views of southern Portugal, and definitely you want to stop, grab a photo before you begin your descent. On this climb, cyclists will face a 10-mile ascent, averaging just under 5%. So, I will say this because it averages about 5%. I think this is a climb you can get into a good pace in and enjoy it and build some great muscles for the year ahead. Now, if my slide, there we go. Now, you will want to take in one last ride on our final morning. You can do one of a few different self-guided options that we have. You can choose to a final spin to the historic streets of Cavaleiro, and or you can sit back, relax, have a coffee or two, or cycle to a nearby cycling cafe as featured in this photo and really enjoy some of the best that Portugal has to offer. Now, if you were looking to go to a place where I will say is something just special, I want you to take in this shot because this happened down in the port of Soyer. The sun is just beginning to rise up for us. And you can discover the ultimate cycling training camp in Mallorca because it's not only a haven for amateur cyclists, but pros alike. The riding here, I'll say, well, in one word, it's spectacular. Mallorca is a cyclist's paradise. The climbs and descents never get too steep. Gradients average almost always between 4 to 6%. Some are steeper, some are more mellow. The gradients are one reason the pro teams come here to train in the early season because they can put a lot of elevation in the legs without a lot of stress. And once you ride here, I think you're going to understand why. And you'll also understand when I say this. Mallorca is a pilgrimage for any cyclist. Now, some of the different rides we have. This day, you're going to wake up, you're going to have some coffee, some breakfast, and then we are actually going to shuttle you from our hotel, which is more on the eastern side of the island, to the western side, to the village of Andratx. Um, the Andratx is like the gateway to some of the most incredible cycling routes on the island. In this day, we are going to hop on the MA10 as it weaves and winds through different villages of Estayanx, Banyuls, drops down into the Port of Sawyer. You'll climb up and tackle the Puig Mayor before making your way back to our trip hotel. And this day, I will say, is truly, truly, truly epic. Another epic day on this trip is featured here. And if you can, don't look at me. I want you to actually take in and look and find the road because you can see on the left-hand part of the slide, the road kind of switchbacks and serpentines, drops down around us. And then you can see down in the shaded area where it says today's ride, 61 miles, short ride, 50 miles. And then you'll see the road weave its way down. And so Sacalobra is one of the most famous climbs and descents on the island. It is incredible. You will get to descend it, get down to the sea, have a coffee, maybe a sandwich, then turn around and begin your climb back up. And this is one of those climbs where every few K, it's like you go through a different microclimate. It truly is a cyclist paradise. I'm not sure why we have the snake on here, but nobody calls it the snake, although it does weave its way or snake its way on down, but it's incredible. Now, the same gentleman who designed Sacalobra also designed the ride out to Cap Formentor. This is our big final ride of the week. It's spectacular. And both of these roads, the engineer is part Mallorquin, part Italian, and he talked to the Mallorquin government and said, I want to build something that will bring people from all over to our island and showcase the beauty. And what he wanted to do was design a road where it kind of blends in with the scenery. So when you look from afar, you don't really see the road. When you're there on the road, you don't really see where the road goes because it naturally just incorporates that beauty. So we will head out to the most northeast part of the island today. We'll wake up early, and trust me, you're going to be thankful for doing this. We'll wake up early, quick breakfast, we'll get going. We'll head down to Palencia, to the port, and then make our way out to the Cape, to this lighthouse here. You can see how the road like weaves its way up to the White House, lighthouse. Take some photos, maybe have a coffee here, turn around, and make your way back. And on our way out, you're going to start seeing all these tourists and cyclists and buses and cars coming through, and you're going to go, man, I am so glad we left when we did. You will definitely feel the burn in your legs by this time in the week, but with the beauty of it, it seems like that pain just goes away as the smiles abound. Another day. It is a cycling mecca, and there are so many cool cafes and spots. We'll make our way to Cycling Planet. It was established in 2012, right about the time Trek Travel started doing our Mallorca ride camps and Mallorca trips. I think we beat them by a year or two, or maybe three. But this cafe, there's world champion jerseys in there. There's a lot of different pros that are in there, from Irish to British to Spanish. And you go in, have a good coffee, take in the memorabilia, watch some pro racing on the TV, and just enjoy this great cozy atmosphere. Well, Curtis, tonight we have talked a little bit about two incredible ride camps.
Mhm.
And for you all, you might say, guys, I don't know which to do. And I'll leave it like this because I think it's probably the easiest way. If you are looking to get away 2 miles in an area that is quiet, doesn't, well, has cyclists, but is not inundated with cyclists from all over the world. If you are looking to have some incredible cycling, feel like you've stepped back into time and just be in a quiet area. Well, guess what? Portugal will be the ride camp for you. It's also one of our newest. The guests and the guides are raving about it. They love it, and they love to be in an area where there's not a lot happening. And so when you're on the roads, they're lovely and quiet. Now, if you are thinking, like, I've heard about Mallorca for a long time, then Mallorca is definitely the place you want to go. It is island living. You'll see pros out training. You'll see semi-pros training. You'll be on the road with, well, let's just say there are more cyclists on the road here than there are cars. And because of that, it just makes cycling in Mallorca all that much special. And with that, my friend, I am going to hand it back over to you, Curtis.
Thanks, Hirsch.
Yeah.
My thoughts always are like, if you're already going to go all the way over there, just do both of them. Why would you don't want to go all the way over to Europe and just pick one. So, I think you could do both. And I think we've had some folks, I saw the chat. We have a couple of guests who've been to Mallorca.
Yeah.
Um, and so we can talk all about it. And I'm sure they'll be happy to kind of share their experience because it's always great to have that firsthand experience. As a guest, Hershey's been guiding there and has been there a bunch, but kind of get their experience. But I would definitely recommend if you're going to go all the way over there. I mean, just do both or different. There's plenty of other trips to do as well. So with that, I'm sure you're all excited after seeing those amazing places, and you're wondering, well, what's next? Well, watch out for an email from our team with lots of great info to recap tonight's presentation, including a link to the video. So if there's something you missed or you want to see again, you can do that. Visit our website to get more information about these trips and other trips, including dates and prices, trip logistics, so you know where to fly into, what to bring, and just all sorts of helpful information. They have nice like maps, so you can kind of see where the rides are, kind of the direction you're going. There's shows the weather kind of during all the various months, the highs and the lows. It's just our website is so full of really, really great information. And then once you've decided on the trip, give us a call to book your trip Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. Or if you're one of those people who thinks all of your best decisions are made late at night, you can actually just book online as well. And then once you've booked a trip, don't forget to get ready for it. Even these ride camps, you don't want to just kind of go in totally cold. I mean, if you're like me in Minnesota, if I was going to go to a ride camp in January, I definitely want to be riding Ruby, all winter, so I'm not just kind of going in totally flat and not been on my saddle for several months. But that's really part of the fun. I mean, you kind of like, you start riding, or if you're in a place where you can ride, you go to your local truck shop, meet some folks, get the gear that you don't have, figure out if they have a group ride, and just kind of start getting ready for your trip because you always get more out of it if you're a little bit ready for it. Um, and it's a way to make more friends. So you make a bunch of friends getting ready for the trip, and then you make a bunch of friends on the trip. It's just really kind of that's like, I think the best thing about the Trek travel trips is besides the amazing places you're going, is all the really cool, great people that you get to meet. Um, and so you're at this event, we're almost done. But if you want to see other events, if you go to our website under the resources tab, we have a Trek Travel events link. We host most of our events throughout the year on Wednesdays. I think almost all of them are on Wednesdays, but every once in a while there's an odd something different. The upcoming events for the rest of the year are on December 10th. We have Girona and Costa Brava, Scotland and Ireland self-guided, and then the last of the year is December 17th. We have the Santa Barbara Wine Country Bike Tour and Costa Rica hiking and walking. I think I think there's two already scheduled for January as well. But if none of those look interesting to you, just keep checking back and, throughout the year, we'll keep adding trips. And if there's anything you really want to hear, reach out to us and say, hey, I want you to do, a presentation on, this particular trip. And I'm sure we'll try to accommodate you. We, at Trek Travel, we're all about what our guests want and giving them those experiences. But speaking of events, I know we've talked about it a little bit. On the first Friday of the month, Trek Travel does two group rides that are often, very similar to the routes that we ride on Trek Travel trips. And one's at 1 p.m. in Central Time and one's at 7 p.m. Last month, we had over 50 riders on our 1 p.m. ride through the Pyrenees, and I think there was over 30 on the 7 p.m. ride. And the first Friday of this month is this Friday, December 5th, where we're going to ride on California's Redwood Highway. To find the event, just go onto Ruby and search for Trek Travel. It pops up. You'll see two different rides. I think we have right now 25 signed up for our 1 p.m. Central ride. And at this point, I think I'm the only one signed up for the 7 p.m. I used to do the one, but I want to get out and fat bike during the day. So please don't let me ride alone. If someone would sign up with me at the 7 p.m. ride, I would appreciate it. And if you haven't ridden on Ruby before, it is an awesome way to experience some of the greatest rides around the world without leaving the seat of your smart trainer. If you don't have a Ruby account, it's easy to sign up because Trek Travel is partnering with Ruby, and you can use the code Trek Travel 1M, and I'll throw that code into the chat box later. But it's just Trek Travel, the number one and M. You get your first month free. Normally, you just get a week. Um, so it's a great way to check it out. In fact, they have a bunch of rides in Mallorca, so you could, check out the Fermentor and some other rides to kind of, get a feel for it. I will say if you haven't ridden Ruby before, you should take it for a spin because I think you will love it. I was never an indoor fan. But after I rode Ruby, I was totally hooked. They've kind of, you get to ride in like real life experiences. It's not a cartoon, but they still gamified it. So you can get all the bikes and other stuff. Now I have Trek bikes and a Trek travel kit. In fact, you will get a Trek travel kit, just like you do on a lot of our trips, if you actually go do the Ruby ride. So it's just really, really a really super fun way to kind of, if you can't ride outside, if it's too cold, wet, windy, whatever, just a great way to kind of keep riding on your bike. So I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. And that we're at the last leg of our journey. So hopefully we have some questions. I will stop our share right now and we can kind of dig into the questions. I know Hirsch, someone asked, I think, what were some of the grades in Mallorca as far as the climbs?
Yeah, Curtis, the gradients typically average, and I am just going to actually remove spotlight so we can all see each other
Yeah.
here. The gradients in Mallorca typically average between 4 to 6%.
Yeah. Nice.
Um,
Not too
yeah,
much.
there's a few that get a little steeper when you're climbing out of Sacalobra, but on average, you can expect 4 to 6% gradients.
I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions.
If you don't mind, if I just jump in,
Absolutely,
I,
please.
I I do have a question. I did a Trek travel trip back in 2019, did the Tuscany. I consider myself kind of a level three, but my riding buddy and I are very interested in doing a ride camp, and just wondering whether or not it's going to be too much. Any thoughts on that?
Um, what do you mean by too much? Like, what are you
Well,
looking for? And
I,
some,
you know,
yeah,
I've ridden the ride across Wisconsin. That's, 180 miles and 7,000 feet of climbing all
Yep.
day. Obviously, this is far fewer miles, but, a lot of climbing. So I guess I'm just wondering, are we going to be left in the dust when, maybe younger guys are just blasting up the hills, or, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want it to be that kind of experience.
yeah. That's an awesome question. And I'll say this, and Curtis can jump in. Like,
Yeah.
truly, when we say like it's your day, you decide. It's all about you and the pace that you go. And so we might have some people who are going fast. We might have some people who might be going slow, but it's all like really relative. Like we're there to support you
Okay.
on the right camps. We get a big variety of people. So it's not a race. It's a training camp, and it's not about being in a pace line and keeping the group together. This is all about you experiencing the area. And when you see how awesome it is, um, like I've gone out after we've done a group ride and I've been the van support guide. And when I've been out, I've passed like 500 cyclists out on the road. So
Sure.
there's always a chance to sit in on somebody's wheel if that's what you want to do. But yeah, you won't feel like you've been left behind.
Okay.
That's
Thank you.
not what this is about.
You
Sounds good.
definitely won't be left behind. And I would say, I mean, and there's a bunch of other ride camps too. So I mean, I would look at all the ride camps if you're I mean, when I look at Portugal, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of miles in elevation. I mean, when I
Mhm.
was down in Texas, we do similar miles, but not nearly that amount of elevation. So um there, I mean, we do have other ride camps. We have some domestic, obviously, and some other ones over in Europe. But no, I mean, it's about the riding, but yeah, as Hershey said, like, we have a lot of different folks and you can always get van support too. So, if you want to do 50 miles and, 3,000 feet of climbing, that's a good, strong day for you. There's nothing wrong with hopping in the van at lunch. I've had lots of guests hop in the van at lunch or get shuttled out to a spot. Like maybe there's three segments in the day and the first one's not as good as the last two. So I'll shuttle them out to the first snack stop and they do the rest of the ride. So you will get to kind of ride as much as you like. And we've had guests too, if they felt like they were holding the group back a little bit. Sometimes we let them leave a little earlier in the morning just to kind of allow that pace. But there's always a spread. I've not been in any ride camp where there's not a spread. There's always some like people who are just hammering it, like head down, not looking at anything. And there are other folks that are like, hey, you're in Mallorca, you're in Portugal, you're in California. Like, it's a ride camp and you want to ride a lot, but you also want to enjoy it and look around and enjoy the incredible scenery and, kind of take it in a little more. And recognize too, I don't know, everyone, I mean, you're riding 6 days in a row. And so that's something as well. So keep that in mind is I like to ride a lot, but not many folks, get to ride 6 or 7 days in a row.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Hey,
that feedback.
and some of the people have put numbers and some information in here for you too. Carrie and Chris Dolan said, my last ride camp, he was the youngest at age 50 on the ride camp. So,
Yeah.
um,
That's my experience generally too. I mean, I would say most of our guests are between 50 and 7, 50s and 70s. I don't rarely get every once in a while you get someone younger than that, but I mean that's kind of, you know, people who have the time and money to spend, a week out riding somewhere cool.
yeah. Curtis, and I'll answer this one, but Tim just said, hey, when I was reading the literature for the Mallorca ride camp, it said that you should rent a car to get to the hotel. How does that work? And so I would definitely recommend renting a car versus getting a taxi to the hotel. And the reason is, some of our ride camps, we stay in a busier city. Some of them you can get to via train or flying in and taking a taxi. But it's about, I think, an hour, if I recall correctly, from the Palma airport out to the Trip Hotel. And then, we include breakfast and pretty much every dinner on this trip. However, from my experience, while the food's good at the hotel, it's also nice to get out and get away. And there's some other villages that are somewhat close where you can go to a nice restaurant and just change up the meals. So, to give yourself some flexibility too, I'd say rent a car and you can run them through Sixt, which is SIXT. You can run them through Hertz, through Avis, and have a car for a week where you can go and explore in the afternoons and evenings or on that midday ride. I just think it'll give you a better overall experience than just being at the one hotel and having the same restaurant for every night.
Well, as Sergi said, some of our ride camps, like the one in California, the one in Greenville, you are right in town. And so when you're there, everything's totally walkable. So you just need to get to the hotel. And from there, you don't need it. But like you said, Mallorca is different. Girona, you're right in town as well, aren't you, Hershey?
Yeah, Girona,
Yeah.
you're literally right there. So you can fly into like Barcelona and then take the train up to Girona and you're not far away from the hotel at that point. Or you could rent a car and drive up to Girona. It's like an hour and a half or 2 hour drive. I believe it's been a little while since I've done it, but definitely options.
Let's see, rent a car. Any other questions about these trips? Any other ride camps? Any other trips? Anything else? Because otherwise, we have a couple of pro tips we'll always throw out there if anyone doesn't have any questions.
Yeah, there's just some great info in this chat too.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Is it
Yeah.
better
We
to do
well,
the, I'm sorry,
go
is it
ahead.
Yeah.
better to do the spring camps or because I noticed there are some in the fall as well?
Yeah, so Carrie, I've written there both in the springtime and in the fall, depending on when you want to go. I've had cold temperatures in February where I have had some snow come in. I've also had it in the 70s in February. Typically, though, um, we start doing the ride camps in February, temperatures 50s to 60s, and then they slowly start to increase as spring hits. And when things start budding in March, it's beautiful, but it can definitely be cooler. I think for me in Mallorca, going near the end of our ride camp season. As we get into late April, early May, you're going to find better temperatures that are far more comfortable and enjoyable. And then the fall, if you're looking for something to kind of like start to detune or just really enjoy rides because your fitness has increased. That's where when we start doing the ride camps in October and early November, it's definitely a great time. But as we start getting later in the year, the temperatures start to drop and the moisture can start to increase. Uh, I will say this too, in Mallorca, if you were there and they talk about a red rain happening, a red rain is when the storms come off of the Sahara Desert, cross the Mediterranean. They also, with the rain, will drop sand, and that's why they call it a red rain. When that happens, you don't want to be on the roads. So if the guys are like, "Hey, it's a red rain," take the day off, because when that happens, that sand makes for whatever reason the tarmac slick. If you guys know who TJ Van Gardner is, I've ridden with him in Mallorca. He was telling my guests a story, and he was just saying, I was going uphill on this climb called the Orient, and my bike, when this was happening, actually slid out from underneath me as I was going uphill. So if the red rain happens, take a day off, let it dry out, and then it'll be much safer on the roads. Um,
I mean,
so,
I would say as you're looking at trips, it's like, do you want to start your season early or extend it? Like Hershey said, it's kind of when you're choosing, it's like, well, for me, I'd probably do a spring one because I want to get out and start, riding early. I'm not really riding outside, in February, March. But as Hersh said, later in the season, you maybe, you feel like you're in better shape and, you might but you want to keep riding. You don't want to end it depending on where you live. So
yeah. So hopefully some of that helps. I love riding there, whether it's March, April, May, or September, October, or November. And I've actually ridden there in December too, but it does start to get much cooler as we get into the later parts or early parts of the season.
yeah,
Um, yeah, any other questions and I just want to thank you all for the feedback that you guys are
yeah.
throwing into the chats. I think this is such great information for everyone. And I agree, the Greenville Ride Camp, it's awesome. The Girona Ride Camp is awesome. Greenville, of course, you're in the city of Greenville. Hincapie is there. You'll probably see his new pro team training there next year. Girona is also fantastic. It's Girona and Mallorca, and then I'm going to put in Portugal in here too. Those three are so vastly different. The riding, Mallorca, island living, it's all about cyclists. Girona and Greenville are both like big cities, but the number of cyclists that you have in and around in Girona is simply incredible. Um, but you are navigating the city before you make your way out into the countryside. And then Greenville, I'd say, is much more quiet. You do have tons of cyclists. You do navigate the city and you hop on the bike path for a little bit, and then you get out and explore the countryside. Portugal is definitely untouched. We're in the Algarve region, as I mentioned, but the riding is equally incredible. Both guests and guides who've biked there, the guides say they want to be back because they love that quiet riding. So you can't beat
I mean,
it.
I'll throw a pitch in for California too. I love California from the sense of like, I think Solvang is a great little town. The roads are not nearly what you're going to get over, obviously, in Mallorca, Portugal, Girona. I mean, the roads are so nice there. The roads are a hit or miss in California, but you have some amazing scenery. You're seeing the Pacific Ocean and the mountains, and um, that's an also really cool experience. So if you're, I think some people are trying to get all the ride camps in, and I'd recommend getting the set. And I would definitely encourage folks to ride out there because I've really enjoyed it. You can't go wrong. I mean, I'd say you can't go wrong with the ride camp.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll do a Madison, Wisconsin ride camp. We've actually tried to do trips in Madison, and we usually can sell one or two, but they never seem to get the traction going. And by one or two, I mean like we've ran a few trips there.
Yeah, George. Yeah, George has five, and he's done some that aren't around, like our Texas ride camp. And I see Andrew's talking about Greenville is beautiful and with the river running through. I mean, it's like, again, that's one of those spots where like it's really fun. There's a great culture for arts and craft breweries and food and stuff. And so you're getting, apart from just the riding, you're getting a great experience there in Greenville. I mean, that's one that's been going on for a really long time, both there in California, and that's true for a reason. They've been around for what, Hirsch, as long as you've been around, right? 20 years.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
have.
there's a reason why they're around 20 years and they're still packed with people because they're great places to ride. But obviously, and easier to get to for those Americans who are here. Obviously, Europe's incredible to get out there and get that experience as well. So again, you just really can't go wrong. Madison does have they have self-guided Madison. That's about what we got in Madison. I'm surprised there's not some more trips in Madison because I think it'd be a fun experience. But
Uh,
um,
like when we've done it, it's been so cool
I
because
love
we
it.
actually take guests to the Trek factory out
Yeah.
there in Waterloo, and they get a tour and see like, just how the bikes are put together, how their different Project One is painting and everything, and it's pretty cool.
And Hershey and I have guided. There's some great trails around Madison too. I mean,
Yeah.
Hershey and I have done a little bit of guiding there for like kind of little smaller private events, but it hasn't taken off. But if you all want it, Trek Travel will give you whatever you want. So I put your vote in, and someone will try to make something up. With that,
Definitely.
we are at the half hour. So we're happy to stick on if anybody has any other additional questions. Otherwise,
Curtis, I'm going to
yeah,
raise my hand real quick.
yeah,
And
go
like,
ahead.
I do think we have a lot of people who've done trips with us before, but
Yeah,
for anybody who hasn't, I think those little tips
yeah.
that like those pro tips that we've thrown out, we should definitely share with folks. And then if there's any other questions after that, we'll hang around. Or if
Sure.
you people want to leave too, you're welcome to sign off. You'll get a copy of tonight's video as well. So you can look back, share it with friends. And yeah, it's always
Not even
great
ask.
to.
We'll start with you, Hirsch, but I'll even ask some of the guests. I know if George is still on and Hal, like maybe some of their pro tips too as a guest. But why don't we start with you? I know you have a couple, Hirsch. What do you think about
Well,
need to bring?
Curtis, we always talk about like essentials, and one of them when you do these ride camps specifically are having layers. So a base layer, your jersey, a vest, a wind jacket, a rain jacket, arm warmers, knee warmers, things that you can shed off, put in your jersey pocket, put in the van, or be able to put on. Because usually when we do the ride camps early, late season, those mornings can be cool and you just want to be able to start comfortable and finish comfortable. So layers is one of my big things.
The nice
Curtis?
thing about too is you can throw your layers in the van too. You don't have to carry them the whole day like you do if you're not on a Trek travel trip. Um, My pro thing would be saddle. You're going to be there. You're going to be riding 6 days in a row, and so I would bring your own saddle, so that because your bottom is that's what it's used to, and it's been broken in. So, and we're more than happy to switch out the saddle to make sure you get the saddle that's most comfortable for you. And then pedals, we provide Shimano SPD and SL, so like the road and the mountain pedals. We also have flats, and we even have cages if you're old school and want cages. If you're riding anything else, speed play, look any of those, bring your pedals, and we're more than happy to switch out the pedal so you can ride your preferred pedal. And also, if you don't show up with your cleats and they don't fit in our pedals, we've had that before. Every once in a while, someone tries to click in, and you're like, nope, those cleats will not work, in the Shimano. So definitely bring your pedals or your Garmin's. And also, I would say Garmin's. We obviously provide a Garmin, but a lot of folks have their own computers, and so while we'll provide it, it's not set up the way you want it, right? With all of your screens and all of your power meters and all the other stuff you have attached. So bring your own computer and we'll load the routes onto your computer instead of you trying to get our Garmin's set up, the way that you'd like them set up with all of the different, readings and screens and everything else. Anybody else want to throw in some pro tips as guests? Well, there you guys, we covered everything.
Yeah. Any other questions, anybody?
I got a pro tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Um, uh, Laundry pods.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, works great. And you can even just do your own laundry like in the bathtub or the shower or something like
Yeah.
that if you had to, right?
Yep.
But a little bit of that because you just never know. how many layers you're going to go through and how
Yeah.
fast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've
That's
done that twice, and it's worked out really well.
yeah,
Nice.
that's a good one.
I was going to add, I'm sorry, this is Alina under Andrew Brofman.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, I can't
Hi.
seem to put myself on the, I'm not sure what I did here. But yeah, instead of laundry pots, I brought the paper the detergent. So let's see, ask you to start your video. I'm trying to, and it's not.
Oh,
There
there
you
you go.
go.
Okay,
There you go.
hi.
Yeah, I sent you a
Yes.
request because sometimes it'll
Yes,
make
I
it
know. I was
easier
trying
to
to.
find it.
Yeah, I was trying to. Sorry, it's blurred in the back. There's a bike on the wall behind me. So
Curtis and I love that stuff.
yeah. So Andrew was the one that the cyclist. I go to eat and to hike and stuff. So,
Perfect.
but yeah, we brought laundry. It's paper laundry, and that was really helpful because I really hate trying to bring back 6 7 days of cycling stuff that are all musty. So we try to do laundry whenever we do his cycling trips. So yeah, Girona was amazing. Greenville was amazing. I miss both places. So, but looking
Awesome.
forward to Portugal next year.
Oh, great.
So yes,
Perfect.
and he um he's with OC Velo in Southern California in Huntington Beach, and in Girona there were 15 of them, and in Greenville there was I think 11 or 12 with Sammy, I think,
Yeah.
and Sammy did Portugal, and he said you got to go, so definitely going.
It's always fun when a local group kind of goes on a ride camp, and that's something I know when
Yeah.
I was doing ride camps. I got people from the East Coast, and they'd all come together, and it was like a group of eight
Hmm.
of them joining with other folks, or 15. That's awesome. Like that is
Yeah,
what makes ride camps super cool is the groups
I
that
know
all
it
come
makes
together.
it makes it very fun for
Yeah,
them, so yeah. So
totally
anyway,
agree.
thank you. I'm just and he'll get this whole recording, correct?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah, he
perfect.
will.
absolutely.
Okay.
He will. And with that too, some of our trips, and I believe the Mallorca hotel, uh, the hotels can do laundry for you. They usually
Mm-hmm.
charge 10 to 20 euros for a bag of laundry. So sometimes after riding for 3 days, the last thing you want to do is laundry in the sink. And if you have a little laundry bag with you, you can hand that over to the hotel and they'll do the laundry for you. I,
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
In Girona, I just walked across the bridge, and there was a little laundromat.
Yeah.
It was unmanned. It was perfect. And then in Greenville, we stayed at the hotel. It was Embassy Suites, and there's a washer and dryer for
Yeah,
guests to use. So it was perfect.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
We try to
And
do that. It's nice when we can have the laundry right at the hotel. Not always
mhm.
possible, but yes. Well, cool. And yeah, it says, will you be sharing? Yeah, I think when you get
yeah.
the email, you'll get the coupon that comes with attending a Trek travel event.
Yeah. What
All right.
else?
Thank
What else
you.
can we? You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you for
Yeah,
sharing too.
absolutely.
Any questions from anybody else who's still here?
Well, thanks everybody. Really
Yeah.
appreciate you joining us this evening. Really appreciate everybody who was chiming in about their experiences. That's always awesome to hear from other guests. So thanks for being on those trips and look forward to you on. Like it's always fun when we get a new ride camp because all the ride campers want to add it to their list of ride camps they've done. So enjoy Portugal and thank you again for your time this evening. Hopefully we'll see you on another Trek travel event or even, a trip will be even better. So thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hershey.
Everybody, thank you. Curtis, always great to be here. And 'tis the season. I'm going to try to be there on Friday with you en
Yeah,
route,
hey, I appreciate it. Thanks, Hersh.
one way or another. All right.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Thank you. See you next week.